So I think one of my very favorite things to do is to hear the stories of transformation with the people that we have the honor of working with. And Paige, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to go live with you.
You're welcome, Jody. I'm happy to be here too. Good.
So Paige was definitely one of those people, you guys, where like when we take on a new client, we have like an intro meeting to make sure it's a fit. I want to make sure that if you're going to invest your time, money, and energy in what we're doing, that I can really help. And when I met Paige, I was like, I hope I'm good enough, because she's such a together person. She's so honorable. She's so professional. She's so beautiful. And truly, the experience of working with you has been nothing but that. So tell us a little bit about who you are in the world and what you do.
Well, first of all, thank you. It's really very sweet for you to say that. But so I am a physical therapist, an integrated physical therapist, and I'm in Seattle or Kirkland, Washington, which is just east side of Seattle. And so I've had my own business. I started my own practice in 2014. So we're coming up on 10 years. And I kind of did the traditional track of like, I grew really fast. I was on my own and hired staff and did all that stuff and did that for about 8 years. And then it wasn't necessarily serving me and COVID happened. So I pivoted to just being on my own. So I knew people were doing it. But I was running that way for a few years with just the wrong systems in place, and everything started to feel wrong about it. So even though I'm super passionate about my work, I work with people that have hypermobility conditions and pretty much like just really a lot of stuff going on. So it's pretty, it's very focused care. You know, I really like to set up my space to serve my people and make them feel seen and all that good stuff. So, but it can also be a lot for me too. So I was doing that and then doing all this kind of disorganized business stuff. And so Jody, you'd come to me through Jane, and I had watched this webinar, and it had talked about funneling your phone systems. And for me, like voicemail is my nemesis. I'd have these panic attacks, like I have someone's calling and they need something and I don't have anything else to give. And it was so silly, you know, and then I just kind of did this funnel that said, email me. And then I like the weight that lifted from me was so huge off that one little webinar. And so like, I always kept watching your stuff. And then last spring, I started to get really burnt out and like really not happy in my practice and really being like, I just should go online and change everything. And then I saw the thing for scale, and it like came to me like at that moment where the universe was like, maybe you should look at this. And then I was like, I'm just going to call, you know, and then we chatted, and then I was like, I'm just going to do this. Cause I'm kind of notorious for signing up for all these like self programs and, you know, like the sick. And that's what I was interested first when I looked in. I was like, oh, I should do one of these like 6-month kind of do it on your own thing. But then I realized I've done a lot of those, and I do usually about the first 2/3, like hardcore. I'm kind of one of those boom and bust, like boo. What is it? Like I boom and then I like
go
crack.
all out, right? It's so funny. I remember having that conversation with you where you're like, I have all these programs, and I think my biggest nightmare in staff with all of the things that we're doing is for my content and my like, this is the heart, this is like the nectar of my life, right? For it to sit on someone's computer and not get used. And I remember saying to you, I won't let you not use it. Like, that's a big part of it, the accountability that we bring into our program. So Scale, Paige referred to Scale, and Scale is our 6-month one-on-one coaching program. We also have a 12-week program. So can you talk a little bit about what we've done together over the past few months and how your life has become easier, how your practice has changed from it?
Yeah. So, you know, first of all, it really helped me because when you're working on your own and you don't have staff and you don't have colleagues or mentors, like you're just in this cycle in your head. And so for me, it really helped to have somebody who is like invested in knowing what I want or helping me figure out what I do want, because that was like a big problem for me. And so like number one, having like that one-on-one connection, and then just kind of setting the simple goals. And I really like about the program is like the library of information you have is robust, to say the least. Like there is so much, like Jody has put together, it's crazy how much information is on there. But like the videos are very simple and like doable, and you can watch it, and then like, you kind of get really, and then because you're having these follow-up contacts, it's like, you need to do the work. And though, like, I haven't met all my timelines, but like every step has kind of helped me like shape like where I want to go and really get clear. And it's kind of like, I'd mentioned like the why project that, but it is that kind of thing. Cause like when you're doing it on your own, you kind of like, oh, have this epiphany, and then like life gets busy and then you forget about it. Or like, I
Right.
can't tell you how many journals I have and how many like amazing ideas I have, but then like they kind of like go and you forget about them. Like I have amnesia, I think. I don't know. But
No,
it's nice to
we
have that
need,
and say it out
it's a
loud.
sounding board, right? It's
Yeah.
like when you win, when you send us a Slack message and you're like, yes, I did it. I feel like you're like my sister winning, and because we're in it together, because we're co-creating this experience. So I totally get what you're saying. And when we were putting Staffless Practice Academy together, I'm like, what are all of the best features that I've experienced in coaching programs? How can I make sure that all of those features exist in the belly and the heart of what we're doing here? And that's you're experiencing the result of that concept. So what would you say to somebody who's like, I'm not sure I'm ready to invest the time or the energy or the money. I'm not sure I'm going to get my return on that investment. What would you say to them?
I think I would say, well, number one, like look at where you're at right now, because I think too, and look at what you've done in the past. Cause like I just found I was repeating similar cycles, and I'm like, I need to do something, because I'm really uncomfortable with being uncomfortable in my situation. Like I'm a changer. I'm like, I don't like this. I need to do, but so like I jump into programs like pretty wholeheartedly, but I think, know yourself and look at what you've done. If you've never done kind of like a self-start program or gotten one of Jody's books or something, check it out and see if it's something you can, because there's tons of pearls in there. But like if you need that accountability, you need a little bit more help. For me, not having any staff, some of the administrative things like with Cassie and Rachel have been like invaluable, of just trying to like just make it like more what you are and what you want it to be. So like that's what, because for me, like in the beginning, I think the investment like felt kind of daunting. I was like, oh, but then I also looked at it, I'm like, I am spending so much time just sitting in my like, I'm gonna say misery, but that's dramatic. But kind of just being like, I don't like this and wanting to throw it all away. And then then it was kind of like a no-brainer. And then so it was good. And I appreciate like how you're a wellness practitioner too. So you get our
Yeah.
business. It's not like a business. Cause when I usually like I have really, really smart and very helpful business guides, but they know from a business perspective on like, and they don't really understand like the heart of healthcare. And like, I think that's hard with us, is like we're healthcare practitioners, but also business owners. And like, how do you make those meld to where it helps your clients, but also serves you too? Cause it's really,
Right.
it's easy to burn out when you're on your own, and if you
Yeah,
have,
it's really
no,
cool to have a practice and to be teaching all of the things that we're teaching right now. Because like Mrs. Jones will come in. I'm in my office right now, you guys, right? And she'll come in and she'll be like, Jody, you need to change the system. And I'll hear her say it and I'll see her point of view and I'll be like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. I think I'm going to write a course on that, right? And
yeah.
that will be this is my playground, right? So what are some of the things, and this is my last big question, what are some of the things that we've done for you that have really made a big difference in your practice?
So number one, the texting system has been a game changer, and like guidance towards like using texting to communicate with my clients in a more efficient way and using templates. Like that's been a huge part of efficiency in my practice, helping me really kind of like organize my schedule and appointment types has been helpful, and becoming more clear with my patients about what I provide. Um, uh, in my world, we're taught to be real generalists, and like, and then we become very specific, and then but you still are kind of like, but I can help everyone. And I think it helps to just be like, and then be good with that and be happy with that. Doesn't mean you still can't see other people, but just kind of knowing your lane, like that was helpful for me to own. My website. So Jody built me a gorgeous website, which I love, and it just feels more like me, like
It's
after
so
10, after
you.
10 years, I'm like, that
Yeah.
business I created, like I'm not that person anymore, which that person
Right.
was amazing and it was great, but like I think with my business and how it evolved, it just, you know, you really want, when, especially when you have a solo practice, it is you, an extension of you. And so like, it was nice to have that kind of rebrand happen, and that felt good. And then there's one other thing too. I don't remember.
It's nice to be like, I need a new signature. I need an
Yeah,
ad created. And Rachel's like, I'll do it.
yeah. And certain things too, like using email more effective, like the templates you provide are super helpful. And like, I mean, like things like for me, it would be fashioning like a welcome email, be like birthing a child, you know, like everything I do is so like energy expensive. And you're like, oh, I can't do this. And then I'm like, hey, Jody Cassie, can you know, like, or it was actually in the program, you know, just like resetting up and I kind of jumped in too far ahead, and I ended up halfway through backing way up and being like, I need to like reset up how my new patients are coming in. Because that I was able to identify like that was where my unhappiness was coming from, like how I get those new people in. It was so much work for me. And then now I'm still working on it, but it's still like, it's becoming better. And like just knowing I can change things, you know, very quickly. So those kind of things, like actionable stuff I've been able, and just simplifying things and like noticing where I'm spinning my wheels and doing too much when I don't need to do as much as I do. So
it's been such a joy to watch your transformation. And I think probably my favorite part of this whole thing that we're doing is the connections that happen. And I actually referred somebody to Paige, and to have this web or this network of practitioners who all speak the same language. Paige is a PT across the country from me, and we do very different work, but there are so many parallels, and I get to know you now, and I get to watch you bloom with all of the things that we created. So a big thank you from my heart to yours.
And same too. And actually, I like that part of like, because I feel like within physical therapy, like there's gaps in like how we were taught to do business or stuff. So like, I really appreciate working with other practitioners like chiros and dentists and osteopaths, I mean, because like the way they approach business is different than how like we were taught to do it. And I've enjoyed it, because I feel like it's nice to just see how other people play in their play boxes, and like, you know, kind of
Right.
we can all
Right.
join them. So it's been
we all have this curiosity, and I think the curiosity is where the creation is born. So thank you, Paige. You're my favorite.
Oh, thank you. You're my favorite too. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm gonna press stop, and we'll have our own little party. I think we're stopped. Wait, let me just make sure. I think we're stopped. Thank you. That was beautiful. That was really cool.
Appreciate it. No, I appreciate it. And everything's sincere, and it makes me laugh when you say that. Like I'm such a mess inside sometimes, and then I'm good at faking it. So that was sweet of you to say, but I think it's helpful for me
I think you're a freaking
to remind myself. I've done like I've been so many like patterning my like habits and brain thoughts, and it's so helpful. Like, so
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I'm working on that shit too.
I know. I just finished Jen Santero's like Badass Habits of like, it's been good, but like, yeah, it's good. Have
you
you
know
read
what I did, Paige? I went to let me just make sure that I'm not recording. I don't think we're still recording. Oh, I am recording, but we'll cut it.